Hello, I'm Ryan Reyes.
And I'm Dominic Angel.
And I'm Ricky Macias.
And together we are Un Poquito.
Yeah. We'll get to housekeeping in a bit, but let's, I don't know what this energy is that I'm bringing in with this chair.
You look like a sick ass Theo.
Damn, I'll fucking take this Theo energy to the grave. I never do this. I think I usually sit in this chair, but I'm in a lean back mode, so we're gonna get comfortable. This fool came in the room and already the energy's right. He knows what he's doing. We're very excited to have him from IE and Friends.
Hello.
Network?
Inland Entertainment Network.
Inland Entertainment Network.
Is the thing, but podcast IE and Friends.
All right, we got the big dog in the chair, Saul Gomez.
What's up? What's up, guys?
If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you like, subscribe, share our videos, guys. We need the fucking help, all right? Leave a comment. Comments make you sexy. I don't make the rules.
Yeah.
Follow us on social media at unpoquitopod. Send us an email at unpoquitopod@gmail.com.
Send nudes at Saul V Gomez at yahoo.com.
And what? Oh, fuck. We have a live show. I'm going to keep plugging it. March 19th in Altadena. Ryan's a headliner. Me and Ricky are hosting. We got Mario Rodriguez, Sadu Vibes. We got Gigi Garcia, Halloween special. Joel Jimenez, a.k.a. Joelberg, from the Kill Tony Band. He's a door guy at the Comedy Store. Very funny. It's going to be a good time. Tickets are $10. Link is in the description. March 19th. We're also going to be live streaming it. I got to check the link to make sure. We are going to be live streaming it. If the information is not there, it will be there by the time this goes up. Come hang out with us. All right?
And if you'd like to keep up to date with all the things we have going on, join our Discord.
Yeah.
It's public. It's free.
Discord's popping off,
fun.
man. People are making real world friendships in the Discord.
I know it's
Yeah.
there's good vibes in there.
Also, if you want to support us, we have a Patreon. $2, $5, $10, $15, whatever.
yeah.
Pay what you can.
They show ass on there, so subscribe.
Yeah. If you want to know what Josh looks like, he's on the Patreon.
Patreon exclusive.
And yeah, that's all the housekeeping we're taking care of. Thanks for being here. See you guys later. Podcast is over.
Peace out, guys. Thank you for having me. Later.
Oh, hell yeah. So we were getting into it before the show started. So for the people that are unaware, uninitiated, you started IE and Friends podcast in 2021.
2021.
Right before we had started podcasting, which was really cool because it was like at least for me, I'm from Baldwin Park, but we lived in Colton. I've lived in Colton, San Bernardino, and Rialto. So I was like, oh shit, some fools like
some local dudes.
Yeah. And then okay, so you do podcasting, right? And then now it's grown into this like network, which is awesome. But you also do stand up.
Yeah, I just started doing stand up. Well, actually, honestly, I've always wanted to do stand up. I think I used to work in Amazon. No, actually, even before that, the post office. And at the post office, I was already thinking about doing stand up, and that was probably like 3-4 years ago. And I was like, I really want to do stand up, but I had no one literally in my community that I even knew in the stand up world. I had I had no idea where to go for stand up, so I just never thought of it. I started working at Amazon, and I just started recording myself, like while I was driving my Amazon vehicle.
Right.
I'll record myself pretend like I was doing stand up.
Oh shit!
How funny.
Yeah, so I was doing that while recording, and I'll post them on my personal TikTok, and they started blowing up. I started getting like thousands, 10,000s of views on those bits, and I was like, oh, interesting. Maybe I can do something here. But I was that's kind of where I was moving my TikTok, my personal TikTok, and just doing I was like the Amazon, not stand-up guy, because I mean, I'm honestly delivering, but I was like the Amazon guy making funny jokes.
That's cool.
So I was doing that for a minute, and then started the podcast, and then that got me connections with like comedians, and then comedians started inviting me to their shows. And the first show I got invited to was by Richard Villa. He invited me. He invited me to open up for him. And literally all the jokes I said were jokes that went viral on my TikTok. and they all fucking killed it. I was like, oh, okay,
That's cool.
I think I can do something here. So I've been trying that out this year.
Damn, a lot of comedians are gonna hear that story and be like, "Fuck this." No, just because like I wouldn't say I had a similar story, but it's like comedians hate people that don't like. Not to say you didn't have to struggle, but it's like that like get that they're good right away.
Yeah.
Ryan is somebody that popped off like as soon as he started. Like he kind of just came knowing who he was and what his voice was and figured it out. I think there's a lot of people out there like I only started comedy because somebody was like, Steve from Chatterbox, we were talking about him. He was like, are you going to try stand up or do you just like come into the bar? And I was like, I don't know. I'm thinking about it. And he's like, you just got to do it, dude.
Yeah.
And then so I went up the next week and that's like, it wasn't like a lifelong dream where I was like performing in front of the mirror or anything. And I just started doing it and then got pretty good at it.
It was pretty wild for me. I remember...
Because I'm autistic, and I just thought that'd be the perfect album title. It's performing in front of the mirror.
Performing in front of the
It's the thing with autistic people. We practice emotions in the mirror because we don't know how to replicate them.
That's sick.
How many years do you have into smiling?
Huh?
How many years have you been doing smiling?
Smiling?
Just like in the mirror.
No, it's like a
practice different types of smiles.
It's a misrepresentation. A lot of people think that autism. Sorry to divert the conversation. A lot of people that think that autistic people don't understand how to have emotions. It's like no, they don't understand how to register emotions with other people. They don't understand how to regulate their own emotion. And because of that, when they're talking, if it's not something that excites them immediately, they have a very monotone, very stoic way of speaking. Often, not all the time. Not
I'm
with all of us.
identifying with it
You're
again.
describing us right now.
So it's a common trope that like we practice smiling in the mirror. We practice our laugh in the mirror because we're told that we look weird when we laugh or smile. Because it doesn't feel natural to fake. Like my natural smile, people used to comment on it a lot when I was a kid. But when I would like smile for pictures, I don't know how to do it on purpose.
This is me smiling. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't register.
You got that Mona Lisa smile.
Yeah.
I used to work on sets, and my friend, like, it happened one time, and he never let me live it down. But we were PAs, so we're bottom of the barrel, we're gophers, like we're just like whatever they tell us to do. But we were working hard, so people liked us. But we were eating lunch one time, and we were sitting on top of like a truck. The gate. We're sitting on the gate of a truck and just eating our lunch, and one of the grips walks by and he's like, "Hey, you guys are rocking." And he was out of he said that as he was passing by, and he was out of eyesight and we were out of his eyesight, and with a straight face I just go, "No, you rock, man." But with the right intonation, and my friend was like, "Why didn't you move your face?" Like and I was like, because he couldn't see me. Why do I have to express myself?
Okay.
I'm just
I've been saying this a
energy.
lot lately because he keeps stopping it, but that's the most autistic thing you've ever said.
I'm telling you, I might be.
Yeah.
But
That's sick.
you're saying that you got started TikTok, then you got Richard Vere reached out to you, opened for him because comics sometimes do hate that.
Yeah.
But I feel like if they're honest, like, because I'm the opposite, where like I just took a long time to even be like consistently funny at all.
Yeah.
Like, my primary effect early on was just to make the audience sad.
Really? I mean, a reaction is better than no reaction. So that'd be cool.
I feel like the thing that's frustrating, and it's not every person that comes through like an alternative sort of journey to stand up, but I think what's frustrating about it is like when somebody's able to reach a very particular stage of like consistency with work.
Mm-hmm.
Just because they're popular online. Like when Vine ended, a lot of Viners worked together to put shows on, and they were successful for a while because they were selling tickets, but
and then the fan base are like, these guys kind of ass.
yeah, like after maybe like 6 months, you saw a lot of them like drop off because they were finding out that comedy is difficult because it's not just like saying funny ideas out loud. It's like you have to practice like forming a persona.
And going into the stand-up world, I'm super cautious of that I know that, because I mean, before I even started the podcast, I would listen to like stand-up comedy podcasts. I was listening to like a lot of Andrew Schultz. I was listening to a lot of Joe Rogan and then Kevin Hart. So I kind of already knew that stand-up comedians, they don't really like the influencers coming in,
Right.
because it's easy for them to like just sell tickets and get to those places,
Right.
which is 100% true. Like, bro,
Which is crazy because they're all friends with Brendan Schaub.
yeah, right. But I mean, so like I get that, because I like, so now when I go into these spaces, I'm not a social media person at all. Like, I don't tell people like follow me on social media because I know they're going to see everything. I don't tell them, oh, I do this, I do that. I just go and see what I can learn from everyone. Cause like, I don't want to be that guy who, cause like for me, like honestly, I'm super grateful. I fucking love everything I'm doing. But I know like my third stand-up show was at the Ontario Improv,
Yeah, that's pretty
Right.
wild.
which is fucking insane.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't happen. So like I'm super grateful to have the opportunity, and I'm not like making like what is it? I'm just super grateful for it, you know? And I'm working hard for it, and
That's a Mexican mentality.
yeah, and I don't want and I don't want to be using people. Like I don't want people, like I don't want to use who I am just to get me places. I want to work for it.
That's
Right.
right.
Because I don't want to have that like that false, like what is it, that false confidence type thing where like, oh, like I'm funny, but that's because I have fans in the crowd.
Right.
Like I want to know I'm funny first before I even sell tickets, because I haven't sold any tickets. I just go to these things for free because
Do
I
you
was
feel
like,
like you came, like that validation on TikTok and those videos, like helped your confidence
yeah,
to be able to perform? Because I feel like a biggest issue for stand-ups, even when they start getting better, is if they don't match it with confidence,
Yeah.
they're stuck.
I think yes, and I think that's why I bombed at the Chatterbox, because the Chatterbox was not my audience at all. So I've noticed I've done 2 shows. Those 2 shows, well, I've done 3, but 2 of those shows I did with people who are not my audience, and both of the times I bombed.
Yeah.
But when I do it with my audience, I fucking kill it every single time.
Right.
So I know I'm not fucking ready. Like at the Chatterbox, I was excited because backstory to Chatterbox, Jesus Sepulveda, he invited me because I was opening up for him at the Ontario Improv Wednesday, and he was like, hey bro, come with me to Chatterbox on Sunday so I can check out your material. We work on some things and see what we can fix up.
That's right.
Honestly, that's really cool because a lot of people don't do that where he's like preparing you for a big, because Ontario is, it's a
Huge.
bigger show. It's like 3 times the size.
Yeah. It's
Of,
big.
At least. At least.
I recently did that because Felipe Esparza invited me to
That's
do 5
badass.
minutes for him. So
That's
I did
sick.
that for the first time. And the vibes are fucking crazy because I prepared very similarly where the week before I did a Chatterbox set,
Yeah.
and I was like, okay, I
See
just
how it
gotta make
lands.
sure I get my like stuff down.
Yeah.
But it's cool to have that where somebody is willing to like, especially that you're so new to it, that he's willing to come and be like, okay, let's go over your material. And
Yeah,
like,
he's
help you work
amazing,
on
bro.
stuff. That's really cool. Not a
Yeah.
lot of people get that.
No, he's dope. He's definitely like a mentor, and like stand up, and then just in general. Cause like he literally tells me like, okay, like when it comes to like comedy and writing, he's like, bro, trash all that faster. Like get rid of the fat and shit like that. So like I respect him so much, and everything he tells me, I take it to heart. I was like, all right, okay, let's do this. So when he invited me to Chatterbox, I was kind of there to perform for him. I was like, I'm gonna make Jesus laugh for sure. Like I'm gonna show him that I got it. And then so like I came in with like too much of a confidence where I'm like, I got this shit, like easy. Like I these jokes are funny. I got it. And then when I got up on stage, it just went, I don't know, just next thing I know, like I'm done with my set and I still have like 3 minutes left. And I was only supposed to be up there for 5 minutes. So my 5-minute set, I did in 2 minutes. And then I was like, oh shit, what the fuck do I do now? And I was just fucking tripping out. And then I was just like, so I ended it, and then I was like, fuck, that's over. Jesus, he's gonna like tell me not to go to Ontario. He's like, I fucked up. But then he told me, he's like, bro, like, don't worry, you did good. You got reactions. That's all that matters. It wasn't quiet. You did good. You just gotta pace yourself. You did look nervous. Don't rush. And then so I was like, okay. So I just I'm glad I bombed it, because now I started thinking what I did wrong, and then I was like, let me just, because I was not comfortable on stage at all.
Yeah.
I was just like super stiff.
You're also put in a position that, like you said, like you're so far. Have you done it like open mics?
No.
So you've just done shows, which is like, the thing is like if you have the opportunity, the reason why you do open mics is so that you practice your material, right?
Yeah.
But if you have the opportunity, like taking a step back real quick, because what I was going to say earlier that I thought of is like one thing that's important to keep in mind too is like yeah, you're getting these opportunities, but that's because you've built something
Yeah.
before that. Like you've put in the work and like your podcast, you created a whole fucking network, which
Yeah.
is like,
Pretty wild.
you know, that's like success. I mean, you know, from what I've seen, a lot of people that started when we started
Mm-hmm.
is like, not a lot of people have that opportunity, and then you definitely have the performer's mindset.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like learning. It's like somebody that is like a painter, somebody that paints with oils learning how to paint with acrylics. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense, right?
It's still painting, but different tools.
yeah, it's just like different tools, different settings. Like you're doing, it's different. It's a new medium.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, that you just kind of have to figure out.
Yeah.
And like being put in that position, you know, somebody that just is like has to automatically be good in front of like an audience that doesn't have room to fail, like that's its own position to be in, versus like I've bombed at so many fucking open mics and you feel like shit, but it's also at the end of the day
an open
it
mic.
doesn't matter
Yeah.
because it's an open mic.
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly. And that's why I feel more pressure on me, because if I bomb, like people already know who I am.
right.
And so I think it was Richard that told me, he's like, it's harder for you because like if you do a show, like you're gonna get invited to a show because you can sell tickets. So you're gonna get invited to a show, and let's say there's like maybe a producer or some dude in the stand-up world watching that show, and he sees you're on that show and you bomb, and he's gonna be like, what the fuck, this dude's ass. So for the next 3 years, he's just gonna think you're ass.
Right.
That's the scary part of
Yeah.
like going into like more opportune areas, like even going into LA specifically, like the shows and mics, like if you come in and you're from around here
Yeah.
and you suck at all, like that's how they view you for
For a while. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, honestly, I feel like you just give out, if you give out good vibes and you have people that are willing to support you, and like
Yeah.
you're brand new to this thing,
Uh-huh.
to anything. So honestly, I feel like if you just keep like with a good attitude, and right now all the things that you're saying, I don't want to be one of these like, what?
No, yeah.
I don't want to be like one of these like comedy elitists, like, oh, there's a right way to do things.
Yeah.
There's a right way to navigate the world. I don't want to say right way, but there's like a way to navigate the world that's like in any profession, or just like somebody at a bar. If somebody like walks into a bar is like, I'm the coolest guy in the room, you're like, fuck that guy.
Yeah. Fuck that guy. Yeah.
So it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
not that you have to keep your head down.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, you just show up and like, if here's the thing, people love to fucking hate on successful people,
Yeah.
especially if they think that it came easy to them.
Yeah.
But if they're in your position where like any of these fools like were given the opportunity
They take
to
it.
like, oh, like to
Yeah,
do
yeah.
the improv, they would take it.
Yeah,
What are
I'd
you
take
talking
it.
about?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. And
Absolutely.
then going back to what you said, if like the whole TikTok thing, they gave me confidence because I remember you brought it up and I just kind of went off
Oh,
the
yeah.
rails. And I brought up the Chatterbox because at the Chatterbox, no one knew me. So at the Chatterbox, I was just Saul Gomez.
Yeah.
But when I did the Ontario Improv, when I did the other shows, everyone knew me. And before the show started, I remind myself who I am. I'm like, oh, I got this podcast, I get these views, and I boost my self-confidence up, and then I turn into. So I always tell people like I have a switch.
Sure.
I have like my personal me and then my entertainment me.
Yeah.
And like my entertainment me is like Saul V Gomez, and I'm like, let's fucking go. Like I'm gonna do
It's
it.
funny because I feel like I still need to remind myself of like making that switch, because I think of Mike Tyson. Like it's so silly that a comedian's like, Mike Tyson had to say, but Mike Tyson had this thing where like even he's like terrified even at his peak, and he's like, but as I walk up to the ring, he's like,
It's
he
a
starts
switch.
pumping himself up. He's like basically like, oh, I'm a boxer.
Yeah. I knock
this,
these
I'm a
people out. I
killer,
do.
I can knock them out. And
I'm a
God.
boxer.
That's literally what I do. That's
Yeah.
what I look at myself in the mirror, like in the green room or whatever. Like I take a deep breath and I switch.
Yeah.
And I'm like, let's fucking go. And I think that's definitely helped me. And at the Chatterbox, I went in just myself the whole time. Like I walked in, bar myself, everything by myself. Stage was me, and I never did that switch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I felt because like no one knew me.
It's
So I was
interesting
like, I
that,
can't really
that
have
you
a
didn't
switch.
allow the switch.
Yeah, it's weird.
But it's cool that the fact that you already seen that stuff and acknowledging that stuff's really good.
So
I think it's also a thing of like, it's a common thing we run into when people are coming in. There's this concept of like resolution open micers where like they're coming in just to try it because they're the funniest person in the office or something, and they. At least for me, I can't speak to everyone, but I feel like it's a common sentiment is that people tend to put comedy on a pedestal when they're trying it. And so, you know, you hear a lot like, well, a lot of people, what trips them up is like they don't even know where to start. But you ask like any comic, regardless of like where they are in their career,
Yeah.
and they say like the exact same three things, which is like the first thing is you just have to find a local mic and start going.
Yeah.
And the second thing is find a way to keep track of your jokes, like write them down, record yourself for yourself. Like it's not because you're gonna be funny right away and you can post it.
Yeah.
It's so you can hear yourself and practice.
Like studying
later on.
film. Basically.
Yeah, and then the third thing is like everyone bombs the first time.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like a very common thing.
I think that's what, honestly, that's why I was like on a, I don't want to say on a high horse, but like my first show, like we killed it. Like we didn't bomb. Like it was Richard Villa and then IE and friends. So it was me, my friend Caesar, my friend Aaron.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like at a bowling alley and we like sold it out. And all of our jokes hit. All my jokes hit. All Caesar's jokes hit. All Aaron's jokes hit. And we're like, oh shit, I think we're good at this. And then we got invited. Bro, this is the funniest thing ever. And then the second time we did a show was at Picolandia at Avenue 26. They did a Chicano comedy festival. It was like 1,200 people, like on this big ass stage, bro. We opened up for Jerry Garcia. So it was huge.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh shit. Like, I mean, we're doing it. We're killing it, right? So they invited us and then we went up there like fucking ready just like have a good time. And then we're just saying jokes and we're just having a good time and the crowd wasn't having it. Like I heard some boos, I heard some get off the stage. Ooh. But like at the time, like I was having the time of my life. Like I was having a great time. I was just having fun. Because I like talking. I like just saying stories and shit. And then my friends at the end were the ones when season Aaron, they told me like, yo, like I'm mad. I'm like, why? It's like those guys up there were talking shit. I was like, what the fuck, for real? And then my friends were like, yeah, there's some people booing you guys. I was like, what the fuck, for real? Like I didn't hear any of it. And I was like, damn, I guess we bombed. Does it mean we bombed? I don't remember, but I think we bombed.
Is it bomb if you didn't feel it?
Yeah, right. Is it bomb? Because I'm just super delusional. I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm just having a good time. And then I heard like, yeah, we bombed. But what I learned was that was definitely not our audience. There was a bunch of like OG Chicano dudes, like Cholo dudes, and like they don't like at the time I had like dyed hair. They don't like these pretty boy looking ass dudes, right? So off the bat, they just already didn't like us. And then so the stuff we were saying, they're just like, man, fuck these fools.
Especially if they're coming to see Jerry Garcia.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
yeah, Jerry Garcia's audience is not our audience at all.
Yeah. We've run into that before. Like, when you go do shows for like older people, like an older crowd, like
it's a whole different.
They don't give a fuck what you have to say.
But honestly, I want that night, even though like we got booed and all that stuff. I thought it was a successful night because when I was leaving, I was just walking towards the back and there's this like OG dude on a wheelchair. He's like, hey fool, come here. And I got scared, bro. I was like, oh shit. I was like, what's up? He's like, you did good, Lovato. And I was like, shit, thanks, bro. And that's all I took. I was like, that's all I needed from that guy. Some OG in a wheelchair telling me I did good. So it was a cool night, but like in the bigger picture, we bombed. But it was fun.
But that's cool.
Yeah, it was fun.
To be like, even to be able to bomb at that big of a venue is like a huge deal.
I mean, yeah. There's a thing because there's two social media types, like when they start doing comedy, and there's some people that never get better. They just want to sell the tickets.
Yeah.
And so they just, because the thing is like their social media grows. Mm-hmm. Like they're good at sketches. They're good at social media.
Yeah.
So that grows. So they can always sell tickets.
Yeah, for sure.
And then there's other people where it's like, oh no, I actually want to do comedy.
Yeah.
So I'm going to get good at it.
That's a scary part too, because I've been told also by a lot of comedians like, yo, watch out, because people might just use you just to sell tickets. Yeah. And like for me, like I don't expect to get paid for these shows because I can't deliver much, right? Like my jokes still aren't funny, but I do bring in an audience. But then I'm just like, I don't want these people to pay for me because I'm not there yet. So like I don't know. So that's a scary part.
It's hard because you're bringing value.
Yeah.
Even if you think the value you want to bring isn't there, if people are coming to see you, they're still coming to see you.
Yeah.
I think too, there's something to be said, especially that I feel like the people that are coming for you are through your podcast.
Yeah.
Versus somebody that's like on Vine or like that only does like TikTok sketches.
Yeah. It's a whole different thing.
Because the people are there to support you because they I feel like with podcasting is a lot of times like they actually want to support you.
Yeah.
And so like
And hear you talk, really.
yeah, and hear you talk. And I think one of the things I've run into situations where I've bombed in front of podcast listeners,
Yeah.
and
They're still cool.
they're still like they're just like, you know, keep going, like we'll come out to the next
Yeah,
one,
yeah.
like kind of a thing, which is nice. I appreciate that kind of level of support. That's something that you don't get from other mediums. It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
there's because sometimes, you know, people are not understanding of like, oh, this was just a night,
Yeah.
you know. So I mean, my opinion is like, look, people are going to use you could use them for the spots, and like as long as you're trying to get better,
Yeah.
and you're especially you're talking openly about it and like very self-aware, it's like I feel like people are going to be like, because Mexicans love lore, dude. Mexicans love like history. Like how many times have you heard like somebody go off about fucking Pink Floyd or like you know, like
Yeah.
I feel like people want to be there when somebody's first starting to say that like I was at his first
No, for
fucking
sure.
show.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
there when he was like he was still figuring it
Yeah.
out, and then he became this like big
Exactly.
star
Yeah,
kind of
we're
thing.
getting that a lot recently because we just dropped our 100th episode.
Hell
Well, no, it
damn.
doesn't drop yet, but drops on Tuesday. Tuesday. And a lot of the comments were like, "Oh, we were there since the beginning. We're number ones. We've been since episode 1, since episode 2." So we've been seeing those comments way more right now. So yeah, you're right. And they do love history because a lot of my TikTok videos that go viral are like history videos.
Right.
So I'm like, interesting. Never really thought of Mexicans love history until you said it.
It's interesting.
I mean, here's the thing: indigenous people have a track record for oral history, so it's like it's ingrained into
To listen.
in our culture of like storytelling, history, listening. Like that's just a theory of mine.
We're just like way better at it too. like we invented folk wrestling, which became luchador, but also it's like the start for like the difference between Greco-Roman wrestling and like wrestling. That started in Mexico.
Oh, like the theatrics of it.
Yeah, like the creating a
makes
persona.
sense.
So the thing that a lot of places got from Mexico, that Mexico started, were creating personas, separating the stage persona from the actual person, costume design, and special moves, signature moves.
moves.
Signature moves started in Mexico, and I thought that was
Wow.
really cool. Like, yeah, it's like very ingrained in the
It
culture.
makes sense.
of-
Wrestling's really novella-esque, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also like the thing that I was because I'm like referencing the solo episode I did about wrestling, but it has like real life consequences that are very dramatic. Like if you get unmasked, you just like can't work anymore as a wrestler. It's insane.
That's wild.
Yeah. I saw Rey
That's why,
Mysterio.
Yeah.
I saw Rey Mysterio get unmasked and like my heart shattered. I was
Wow.
like, damn, there he goes. Mystery's gone.
The most devastating unmasking was the masked magician. That fool is Mexican.
For real?
Yeah.
Who was
didn't
he?
It, wasn't it like that was for the cameras? Like it turned out it was secretly an assistant. It was a woman the whole time.
I don't know. I just remember that the masked magician was unmasked at the end of that. Dog, do you guys remember how big
Yeah,
like
that,
magic
so that's
specials were?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
that
then he
was
came and just fucked
that,
everyone.
That was a red herring. He's not the real masked magician. It was an assistant.
Oh fuck. It was Richard Montañez.
It was a woman the whole time.
Yeah, I think so too, because I don't think he would unmask himself, because all these magicians will fuck him up. So
I love the idea of magician beef, though.
I mean,
that shit
actually,
is so funny.
if he's not directly like attacking somebody's like signature, a lot of magicians like it because it forces the community to invent new ways to do the illusions.
and I feel like it is a toxic community though, because like I feel like it's
It might be
super
like a
gatekeep.
fan conspiracy theory, to
Yeah.
be honest.
I feel like magicians gatekeep a lot, because I mean, they're the ones that create all these magic tricks, and everyone's trying to figure out how to do it, but they're like, nah, you know.
Yeah. It is.
Bel Valentino, that's the
allegedly.
I knew,
allegedly.
I'm gonna keep the theory alive. I love it.
but no, I had a friend in high school whose uncle was a magician, and it's exactly what you're saying. Like they're very secretive, but also it's because they sell their tricks. Like
Yeah,
there's like an industry within the magician community is like some people will develop a trick and then sell it to other magicians to perform. Like
To be honest, magicians are ironically like probably the only performance community that's very similar to stand-up.
yeah, it's a common thing For sure.
can see that. Yeah, and even some some magicians are really funny. Like I saw the Chris Angel show at Vegas a long ass time ago, and it felt more of a comedy show than a magic show.
Yeah.
He was just saying a lot of jokes and then some magic here and there. I was like, I laughed more than I was amazed. It was interesting.
That's where I got my
that?
stage name from.
That
I mean,
guy- Jonathan, what's that? The Amazing Jonathan?
Oh,
Yes.
the Amazing Jonathan.
Is that guy still?
No, he passed away, didn't he?
I think he passed away.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
documentary about him.
That's crazy.
He was a comedian that did magic.
Uh-huh.
You ever see Amazing Jonathan?
Is that the movie with Is that a movie?
No,
It
it's
became- there's a lot of
there's a magician
documentary
called
they
The
ended
Ma-
up doing.
Yeah.
Oh no, I haven't seen him.
But he was like a comedian magician. Like
yeah.
like he had a special on Comedy Central years
But that stuff
ago.
was like insane. Like apparently he like it was to the point where it was part of the point of the documentary was that he would like fuck with people.
Yeah.
It was like very Andy Kaufman-esque to the point where you didn't even know if he was fake. Like people thought he was faking that he was about to die.
Yeah.
In the documentary.
Wow. I really thought that Chris Angel was like the devil. Like for real. I really thought this dude was like a demon.
That's funny.
This shit was crazy because the way he would like just cut people and they'll still walk around. I was like, what the fuck? But I was young because I believed it all.
Those David Blaine specials used to trip me out.
Yeah.
Street magic.
Have you seen the YouTube parody of David
Yeah,
Blaine's Street Magic?
Absolutely.
Jesus.
Yeah, that's the only thing. When people say David Blaine's the only thing I think of.
You demon.
Isn't that where one of the writers for SNL started in those skits?
Probably. I just know. I don't know that as like who did it. I just knew it's a YouTube. It's
Right.
like it's part of the YouTube ecosystem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The history is just David Blaine.
It goes down in history for sure.
Wait. So let's get back. So you just started doing comedy, but how long have you been how long have you been doing podcasting?
Podcast.
Because you started before this show, didn't you? Or like YouTube?
Well, I've done YouTube since I was like, my first video I think was like 14 or 15 years ago on YouTube.
Damn.
So I've been on YouTube forever. Like I used to get in high school, I used to like make I think 3,000 a month in high school just off of YouTube alone.
Oh shit, for real?
Damn.
Yeah, I used to be a YouTuber, like legit YouTuber. I was dropping like weekly videos every Monday. They'll be hitting like 40, 50,000 views a week. And I was like 12, 14. It was crazy.
crazy.
Yeah, it was wild.
Oh, so you've been performing forever.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
Where you find out you're Fred.
Hey, it's Fred.
What's that annoying orange?
The annoying orange. Yeah, that shit was dope. But yeah, I remember, but I've been doing it. And that's funny because the way I started YouTube, I saw the movie The Day After Tomorrow with Nicolas Cage. And I was like, this is fucking sick. And then I had in my phone, I had the Sprint Instinct. It was like one of the first cameras. And like after you make a video, it says like upload to YouTube, like its own button.
Oh.
And I was like, cool. So like me and my friend would just like reenact things. Like one of my first videos, my brother and I, we reenacted the video "Can I Have Your Number" from Mad TV. So we reenacted that, and we just post. Honestly, I would just be posting like just every day. I'll just be posting just something random, and then it started gaining traction. And I was like, let me start a different YouTube channel because like all these are videos from like when I was like in 3rd, 2nd grade, and it's just like me just fucking goofing around.
Right.
So I was like, let me just keep that for like my personal memory, but let me actually start YouTube. And I started my own YouTube channel, and then I was just going off of that. I was like doing a bunch of different collab channels. I was interacting with the community as much as possible, and I started gaining a lot of traction, and I started doing pretty good on YouTube. And then from like middle school, I was killing it, and then high school came along. And then that's when, like freshman year, I was still doing pretty good. Sophomore year was when people started realizing that I do YouTube videos. So words started getting around, and I was like low-key embarrassed. I was like, fuck. Because like my videos were embarrassing. Like they were funny, but like they're for like the younger crowd. Like
Right.
I was pretending like I was doing like a Steve Urkel bit, but I was doing like my own little Steve Urkel. So I was like all nerdy and geeky and stuff. And I didn't want like the bad bitches in high school to see that, you know. So like word started getting around that I did YouTube videos. So I started changing my content, and that's what fucked me up.
Oh wow.
Yeah, because I wanted to start being cool. and my subscribers did not like that
Yeah,
at all.
cool's not fun.
You know
Yeah,
what,
cool's not fun. And my YouTube channel died.
You know what would have been? What is cool? $3,000.
Yeah, nah. Yeah, dead ass.
I would have just been like, what do you guys? What?
Yeah, at the moment, I didn't. I cared more about like, cause you're in high school, you care
Yeah.
about like the validation. You want to be cool. The popular kids making fun of you and shit like that. So I was like, fuck. So I kind of just started changing my content. I lost a lot of viewers, people, and it sucked. And then so like junior year, senior year, my YouTube was kind of dead. And then after high school, because my goal was like not to go to work. I was like, I'm gonna do a YouTuber. But then after high school, it hit me. I was like, fuck, I can't live off of this. Like I need a job.
Right.
So I started working as a video editor for some influencer guy. And then
David Dobrik.
and I actually Ty Lopez. You guys familiar with Ty Lopez?
I have heard of Ty Lopez.
Yeah,
Yes.
like here in my garage.
Yeah.
Yeah, all those ads I made.
Lamborghinis.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
wait.
I did all those. Like basically every ad you see on YouTube, that was me.
Wait, so
Damn.
Yeah,
can I ask, like, was that shit real?
He signed an NDA,
It's-
right?
Dude,
bro, it's definitely real, bro. Come on, man. It's definitely real. No, it was cool. Honestly, you know what's crazy about that? I learned a lot working for him.
Yeah.
When it came to like video edit. Actually, he didn't teach me video editing. A shout out to Eddie. He was the supervisor for the video editors.
Uh-huh.
He taught me Premiere. But then Ty was the one that taught me like attention to detail and to cut off things that no one cares about. And he turned me into like a psycho machine monster editor because like when I edit, like I'm very aggressive. I'm like, no one gives a fuck about this cut. This is horrible. Ass, trash, boom. Just like that, right? And then so I remember because Ty Lopez would rant for like 20 minutes and he would want it to go on Instagram for like a minute. So that 20-minute rant, I had to compress all the way down to like a minute.
Right.
Like I would do that like every day. And I think that kind of molded my TikToks now because now I do podcasts. And whenever like we have like a 5-minute segment that something, I put it down to like 30, 40 seconds. And I think I got that from like Ty Lopez, just
Yeah.
like cutting a bunch of shit.
But you,
Yeah,
it's
not being so precious.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I thought you were gonna say he taught you a lot about finance and how to make $1 million, so that you too could have a Lamborghini.
Kinda. Cause I was his like right-hand man, to be honest. Like I was like with him cause I was like his like
You're in control of
on-demand.
his image.
Yeah. I was his on-demand social media guy. So I saw how he ran things and he fucking ran like a bunch of companies. So now like I have my own company now. And I kind of see myself sometimes doing some
cool. things
that he was doing. And I was like, oh shit, I remember him telling me this stuff and this is what I'm doing now. So it's pretty interesting.
Do you hang out in your garage a lot?
No. That'd be funny. And actually I reached out to him. I was like, hey, you trying to be on the show? But he unfollowed me on Twitter because I was talking shit the other day.
That's it's good. And
Like,
eventually, to run your own business, you got to piss off your old boss.
Yeah,
you know?
dead ass. I remember I tweeted it one time. I was like, damn, Ty Lopez still gives me PTSD. And he saw it and he unfollowed me. I was like, damn. He probably won't be on the show anymore.
But it is interesting. Like everything you've done has. I mean, it's all art, but it's like everything you've done. You've learned these critical lessons.
Yeah,
To do stand up right now.
exactly. It's wild.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say too. Is like this is what people don't see is how much work goes into leading up to just doing stand up
Or just being in, because like the number one thing I hate when people call me lucky, I'm like, bro, no. Like I've been doing this shit since I was like fucking 10 years old. Like it's finally happened that it's going good for me. But I've been doing this shit forever.
How old are you?
I'm 25.
Damn. Okay. Yeah. That makes 10 years.
Yeah, I've been doing this shit. Yeah,
10
about
more
10
years,
Yeah. So I was like, when people are like, oh, you're lucky, this, and that, you got lucky because of this. I was like, bro, there's no such thing as luck. If you work for it, like finally something is going to line up and it happens finally. So you just got to keep it. It's all consistency.
Conan O'Brien had this like way of saying it. I think it was Conan O'Brien where he said like, he's like, you just keep ringing. It's like ringing a bell. You just keep ringing it. And you know, people don't pay attention to it because it's not that loud.
Yeah.
But eventually people are like,
The fuck is
what's that bell that's been ringing for like 10
Somebody
years?
answer the door.
Someone changed their fucking batteries in the smoke detector.
fucking smoke detector.
Yeah.
And this smoke detector is really funny. You
Yeah.
guys-
But that's the truth. I mean, it's also like when people ask us,
It's a laugh track.
like when people ask us like how do you get started or how do you get booked or how do you one of my favorite thing that ever happened, I was an asshole to this person, but they were also kind of an annoying person, so
Tell a story about me.
we were
I'm just
hanging
kidding.
I was hanging out with Armando Torres, and he had just done a show at the Hollywood Hotel.
Okay.
And we were all talking, and there was this new guy that I don't hate new comics. I don't hate new people. I like try to be inviting and like actually like give whatever dumb tips that I think would help. I try to offer that. But this guy was just annoying. He was aggressive. He was the kind of guy that would like start weird fights with people for no reason. So he was at that show hanging out, and we were all talking. It was me, Armando Torres, the host, and 2 other comics. And then this guy walks up, and we're all talking. And then in the middle of it, he goes like, "Oh, so like, how do you get booked on the show? Do you just like talk to the host?" And then I was like, "Yeah, but like for years."
So it'd be like that.
Yeah, it really is like that.
But that's what I tell people too. Like, it's also like a thing that I've seen with the people that started doing creative stuff or started doing like pursuing alternative careers. You're even just anybody pursuing a career in anything like years ago. A lot of those people now, the people that stayed doing the same thing that they were doing 10 years ago, now are having like, it's coming to fruition.
Yeah.
They're, like they have successful careers where this is how they're making their money and stuff. And so it's like, I always tell people just like, you got to put in the work and you got to stick with it.
Yeah, and do not give up. I remember I gave up one time because I let like someone get in my head. I saw a YouTube video and it was this dude, shout out Cody Cole. He was he said, if you're doing something for 5 years and it's still not working out, just give up. Like, what are you doing? And like I heard that and I was like, damn, he's right. I mean, he's a big ass YouTuber. He's probably right. So like I just quit. I was like, all right, I guess it's not working out. So that's when I literally stopped YouTube. I was like, man, I don't give a fuck about YouTube anymore. I'm done with this. And like I just stopped posting. I literally unfollowed a lot of like my YouTube friends because I didn't want to see YouTube on my feed. Because I was just so like, I was like disappointed. I was like, damn, it's over. So I unfollowed a lot of people. I just got deleted the YouTube app. I was like, I'm done with YouTube. And I got a job. That shit fucking sucked ass. Started working as a mailman. Fucking miserable. It's the worst job. Shout out to the mailman though, because they do not stop. Like even the rain, the storm that's been going on, it's still going on.
It's literally their slogan.
Yeah, literally rain. What is
Rain,
it?
sleet, snow.
Snow. Yeah, I was like, God
Sleet,
damn.
snow or hail, we'll deliver what you mail.
Yeah, so I hated that job.
Animal Crossing.
So yeah, but now I feel like fucking 10 years is fucking do it 10 years, do it 10 to 11. If you're taking you 10 years, maybe it's going to happen on the 11th year.
Yeah.
5 years is way too soon. Don't give up after 5 years.
Yeah,
That's
for
way
sure.
too soon,
for sure.
bro. Yeah.
5 years is for like people that got successful early. Like, you losers.
Yeah.
I think it's
Like-
also, a lot of people that make it really big. The thing is like in entertainment in general, entertainment loves young.
Yeah.
So a lot of people that are successful tend to be young when they're breaking out into the industry,
Yeah.
right? And I think because of that, you see, to a young person, 10 years sounds like a long fucking
Yeah,
time.
exactly. They don't understand that part. And then plus now with like how easy it is to go viral now.
Yeah.
On TikTok, you can go viral and your whole life just changes.
Right.
So, but they don't understand, like, it's like the faster you go up, the faster you go down, you know? So it's just like, you can go viral and then now, like going viral at a young age when you still don't know yourself is horrible.
scary.
It's scary.
Yeah.
Because now you're just chasing validation because, oh, this works. So people like this. Let me keep doing this. And then at the end of the day, like you're not happy with who you are. And then you're just like, after a year or two, you're just, okay, who am I? I don't know what I'm doing anymore.
You
But-
see that so much,
Yeah.
especially on TikTok, because I follow a lot of people that popped off during
The
quarantine,
pandemic. Yeah.
and like that becomes their job. But then like, even myself, like I
Mm-hmm.
took a break from just doing this podcast, but like we've all seen YouTube videos of like,
Where are
I'm
they now?
back, where
Oh,
I've
yeah.
been, what
Yeah.
I've been up to, like the reason why
I found God.
took a break or whatever
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
Like,
My
It-
wife's been mad at me.
it happens so much
Yeah.
that on TikTok where like people are like taking breaks, they're getting burnt out, and
Yeah.
like how do you feel about TikTok? It's very useful, right? Like
Yeah.
it's kind of instrumental in a lot of people's
Yeah.
success. But like, how do you feel about like how is it different from like something like Instagram or YouTube?
For TikTok, I think it's definitely just a marketing app. Like, don't think you'll be a TikTok influencer. I don't think there's such thing as a TikTok influencer unless you're like white and gorgeous. But besides that, you don't really. There's really nothing. Cause like, bro, like, cause people, you see like TikTok pages, they'll have like 10 million followers, and their videos are getting like 60, 70,000 views. So those followers don't mean shit on TikTok. They don't mean shit. It's just like, it makes you look cool, makes you brandable.
Right.
But like, let's say like a brand says like, oh, like, let's say like, oh, this person got 10 million followers. Let's give them $100,000 for this ad. They post that ad, it's gonna get like 20,000 views. They're never gonna work with that person ever again. They're like, what the fuck? You did not deliver.
Yeah,
So I think TikTok is just like, TikTok is just where you like just post shit. Like what I've been seeing a lot for like comedians, a lot of comedians have been going off on TikTok, and they're like starting to like sell out, and they're becoming a big comedian through TikTok. And so it's like, post all your stuff on TikTok, but with the redirect.
Yeah.
Be like, if you want this, if you want to see the rest, come over here. If you want to see me live, link in the bio. Like it's just a redirect place. I think you want to take them on Instagram. I really think Instagram's kind of like your the resume place where you want your social profile, really.
I mean, 100%. That's actually something that so of our friend group, I was one of the first people to join TikTok, and originally it was just a bullshit.
Yeah.
I had saw that it started to pop off, that a lot of like, because it was meant for the target audience originally was like 13 to 18
It was like straight off Musically
when it was Musically.
Yeah.
But I started noticing a lot of people like older than that growing out. A lot of old Viners went to TikTok and started like redoing their stuff. And I've always maintained, when people would ask me about it, I was like, it's worth having. Like, it's a good
no downside.
It's a good business card. Like, I would say you never want to be, just like you said, you never want TikTok to be like your job, but it becomes part of your job as long as you're doing other stuff.
Yeah.
TikTok is the best way to find a community you're trying to reach.
For sure.
But the people that put on their Instagram profiles 1 million on TikTok,
That means so much.
loser.
Yeah. That does not mean shit.
I got 1 million grains of rice. Too.
Yeah, it's just validation. It just does not mean shit. I mean, on TikTok it's the same thing. I mean, that's how we grew our podcast so quick, because we just posted our clips, and then literally at the end of every clip it says episode whatever, and then timestamp. So if they want to see the rest, boom.
There's a lot of stuff that I've been seeing. So when we started podcasting, there's a lot of stuff that I've seen through what you guys do that I'm like, that's fucking smart. These guys are fucking smart.
And honestly, I got it from Ty Lopez.
Oh yeah.
Ty Lopez was like, you want to remove as many steps for the consumer as possible. Because I remember when we were first posting clips, the comments were like, oh, where can I watch the whole thing? Where can I watch the whole thing? So I was like, okay, let me remove that step. Let me give them that step. So at the end of the video, I was just like, oh, there it is. Boom. They want to see it.
Because it's like, it's a business. And what do you do to make your business better, even with your employees? Make it easy for them to find the answers.
Exactly.
And it's like,
Because
Yeah.
a lot of people will think that, oh, you're kind of tricking the audience into watching the whole episode. But a lot of times it's like, if they have to look for it, they don't
want to see it.
They don't want to see it.
Yeah.
They want to see that moment.
Yeah, exactly.
And they want to see the context around it. So if you give them that moment, exactly where to go, then they'll watch it, and then you're getting clicks and views, and through that they'll like, okay, well, let me really hear what these guys have
literally
to say.
yeah, that's literally it, because exactly literally what you said. All of our, like, when people ask, like, when I ask them, oh, how'd you find us? TikTok. And it's all because they just go through that timestamp, and they're watching it, and then the transition was probably good into a different topic,
Right.
and then they just found themselves just watching and like, oh, these guys are pretty cool.
it's probably even interesting when they're like, oh, they changed around that bit.
Yeah.
Like where you'll re-edit.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, why? Like
edited.
they almost get inquisitive
Bamboozled.
about like, why'd you guys? Oh, and now they get sucked in.
Yeah, because let's say on the actual episode, we say A, B, C, D, E, but on TikTok, I might put D, B, A, F,
Right.
just because, like, to hook people, the attention span, to get people react.
Yeah.
Or I might even take off C. So, because I never leave the answer on TikTok. I never leave the answer. Whatever we're talking about, we usually have the answer to what we're talking about or our opinion, but I never leave it because I want people to leave their opinion on the comments. And then we start that conversation in the
right.
comments.
Oh, right.
So, yeah, so on TikTok, it's the Wild West. Rearrange your clip into whatever will, like, hit best, and then just make it look smooth, that it looks like wasn't
Because
really
then
cut.
what incentive do they have if they could see all of your content on the TikTok. They
Yeah,
have
exactly.
no reason to go follow you.
Yeah, exactly. You want to give them not like because I hate cliffhangers, so maybe not a cliffhanger, but something that'll keep them wanting more.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
that
So,
makes sense.
yeah.
So let me ask you this. So I Eat and Friends, it's you and your homies, right? And it's kind of a roundtable podcast.
Yeah.
Was it your intention, or is that just like natural conversations to like, because a lot of the clips that have popped off, at least through like what I've seen, is through like talking about Mexicans at parties, like Latin identity stuff and history stuff. So is that like, where does that come from for you in terms of like starting your podcast?
It was just honestly, we just told my friends, or we just started talking about things, and then we'll just be like, oh, remember this, that, and then we never have a script for our episodes. We have like, well, when we first started, like I told my friends, I was like, yo, just pull up and let's just have a podcast. Let's just talk about whatever's happening in the world. Let's just whatever's on our mind. So that's what we did, and then we record for 2 hours, so we're just talking, and then in those 2 hours, I usually take like 3 or 4 clips. And that's how that kind of goes. But when it comes to the Latino content, it's just like how we live. It's not like, oh, let's talk about this because it's going to go viral. Like, we just talk about it. And then I'm like, oh, that was pretty funny. Let's clip it. And that's how it happens. If nothing's ever like scripted, or recently now people have been telling me like, oh, I should make more Latino content. But I'm like, I don't want to force Latino content because then it looks corny.
We talked about this. We had Todo Chido on a couple weeks ago. And we kind of had a very similar conversation where like, me and Ricky are in our 30s. Ryan's 27, so we're a little bit older than you guys. And I think with like the older people, like our generation, there's a lot of like we didn't have the representation that we wanted. So it's like that's why we're more identity focused. And then for people, what it seems like is like for younger people, it's like, no, this is part of who I am, but I don't want to be defined by like my identity. I want to be a full person.
Yeah, like what Andrew Schultz told Andrew
Ralph
Boza. He was like, George Lopez was a Mexican comedian, but he was a Mexican comedian, so you can be a comedian that's Mexican.
Yeah.
So I was like, I think that's how we're all kind of now. Like I
think so.
Yeah, I don't want to be defined as like a Mexican podcast. I was just like, I'm a podcast dude that has connection to like that just lived a life like you, and then that's how we're growing, and this is how we are.
Right.
Because for a while, because like I don't know, we've been doing comedy for a while now, and even just like 8, 7, 10 years ago, like there wasn't that many Latinos doing comedy.
Yeah.
And then now they're fucking.
We're
There's too many of us.
There's
We need to
so
keep
many
them
of
out.
us. Like,
There's too many.
but
Poorly timed that.
but it's really cool to see like now there's so many of us that we can't be hacky anymore.
Exactly.
And that elevates. It forces us to elevate.
Yeah.
But it's also forces us to just comment on everything.
Also, I want to say this though, because that I saw that clip with Andrew Schultz, and nothing against him. Like, I'm trying to not be a hater these days.
Well, he wears a shirt that says "No fun."
Listen,
You need to change a wardrobe first.
Fun.
Fun.
all right, I'm a fun guy. Okay? I know how to have a good time. I told you about my fucking tap game that I like to play on my phone. Anyway, no, there's this thing with like, I took a little bit of issue with his statement with saying that about the Mexican comedian. Not because it's not true, because it's like, yeah, you should be. I think what it is for me, and he wasn't saying, I have to make sure that I clarify that. I'm not saying this is what he said or that he was saying this thing, but I feel like statements like that create this idea of like, there's a thing. We listen to a lot of comedy podcasts, right? And so a lot of times when people talk about Latino comics, I feel like they talk about Mexican comics or Latino comics different than you would like a black comedian. Nobody's telling Chris Rock that he shouldn't be talking about being black or like a race.
Okay, I get you.
But for some reason, when it's like has to do, this is a perception of mine. It could just be me. Okay, I'm on thin ice right now. But it's like when Latinos or Mexicans talk about their like Latino experience, then it's like, oh,
it's hacky.
This guy's just doing Mexican material.
Yeah.
So I kind of just wanted to like poke my little head in.
I think I kind of still agree with you, because it's also like, yeah, we are more than just that, obviously, but it's also like you guys never listened to us before. And it's so there's some of that feeling. Sometimes I'm trying to make sure I'm not being too sensitive, but
Right.
I still hear this on big podcasts to this day of like, just Mexican material. Like,
Yeah.
and it's like,
So that's the thing with Ralph
like a
Barbosa,
negative connotation. To
yeah, it's
where
like,
like I was listening to a thing about Greg Giraldo, which not a lot of people knew is that he was Latino because he didn't talk about like Latino shit. And like I think it was Jeff Ross was saying like he could have done the easy thing and he could have just like talked about being Mexican and race stuff, but he didn't like do that. So it's like that's the thing for me is like what I also feel like a lot of people don't understand, maybe even younger people, is that like if you're not, I want to remove the just, like I want to remove that word of just Latino comic, and I don't think Andrew Schultz said that, so I don't want to put that word in his mouth.
it just reminds you
of
of
like,
it reminded
just
you.
like you can do both, and I think that's more what Andrew Schultz was trying to say, of like you can do both. You can. It's cool to be Latino comedian, like you can do that. Like Felipe. When we had him on the podcast, he said like that somebody, another Latino comic was telling him like, oh, you need to be broad. You need to appeal to more people and not just do like Latino shit. And then Felipe was like, well, I'm looking out at all of my sold out shows.
And this,
and the people that are buying tickets are all Mexican.
exactly.
Like,
you don't want to switch up because I mean that's what I switched up in high school to like for these cool audience, and I lost my kid audience, and I lost money. I lost everything.
Yeah, but it's like you could do what you want to do and have your choice instead of like bending to people that never respected you in the first place.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
It's like the Iron Giant.
I think that's just like that. But yeah, I mean, not saying that that's what you're doing. It was just like a personal thing that I wanted to make sure I got in because it is like, yeah, there's room for all of us to be different, to be who we want to. Because I don't only talk about like Mexican. That's what I've been talking about more and more. But when I first started, I was talking about like racism. I know, but I was talking about like social justice shit, like, and then I started talking about more personal stuff. And as I started talking more personally, that's when I started like talking about like my experience as a Mexican.
But honestly, I think also we have to use it to our advantage because right now, just saying you're like Latino just opens doors for you now because
It's crazy.
yeah, because like even like they're trying to get more they're just trying to get more representation now. So you don't want to hide that right now. Like use it to your advantage, bro. Like, oh yeah, I'm Latino. Like whenever like I do like brand kits or when I'm reaching out to brands, make sure I'm like, oh yeah, I'm Latino audience. I always mention Latino audience
Because it's a niche.
because it's a huge fucking market.
Yeah.
Like not just a niche, but it's a huge fucking market. So you always want to put that in because these people, they don't care about your race. They care about if you can sell.
Yeah.
So like if you say like, oh yeah, I have a Latino audience, boom, you're getting deals, you're getting money. So you want to use that to your advantage and then just use it till like you're fucking big enough to do whatever the fuck you want to do. So like as of right now, that's especially when it comes to like Hispanic Heritage Month, I'm fucking Mexican as fuck. So you got to work with the system, you know, because I mean for the longest we're being like oppressed in like the entertainment world. So now like the head people, they notice that they're like, fuck, I don't want them to fucking revolt on us and shit like that.
Oh no, there's money here.
Yeah, and they notice there's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So use it to your advantage. That's literally that's been my biggest, like when people always tell me, they're like, yeah, make sure you tell them you have a Latino audience because there's a big ass fucking market and it's just been hidden for so long and people are now noticing it. So when they see, oh, Latino comedian, Latino podcast, Latino this, that, they know it comes with like a huge support system as well. So
Like,
use it to your advantage.
Did you guys know they care about each other?
Yeah. Do you know they actually fuck with each other? So there's that.
One of the reasons why, like, for instance, like with movies, the reason why there wasn't as much like Latino, like why there's not as big of as a like Latino industry is because studios are all about numbers.
Yeah.
So like they did research and they found out that like Latinos are consistent throughout all demographics, movie wise, like buyer.
Yeah,
like,
I heard they're like the most people who would like go to movies or something like that.
Yeah, but they'll watch any movie. Is the thing is like they are a market statistically is that they not that they'll watch anything, but that they'll watch a white movie and they'll watch a black movie and they'll watch an
Indian
Asian
movie.
movie. Like their audience.
We're not racist.
We fuck with everything.
Yeah, we're not
everything.
racist.
We're not racist. Guys. Little known fact. Okay. But yeah, like that was the thing was like Latinos they're a constant in the film industry. So they were like that's why they were greenlighting more black films and more Asian films for a time because they were like, oh, there's black people go out to black movies.
Yeah.
You know, kind of a thing and like Latinos would just like be consistent.
Yeah.
The only time I used to work for a research company is the thing. I used to work for a test market, test screening company. The only time that they ever wanted more Latinos like at the test screenings because they used to send people home. Like the only way a Mexican could get into a test screening was if they were with 3 other white people. Literally, they would tell us that.
Wow.
And the only time that they wanted more Mexicans at the test screening was A, if it was a Spanish language film, or B, if it was a scary movie. Because Mexicans turn out for scary movies.
Yeah.
I always thought the funniest representation of that was that one Standoff Paranormal Activity where the main character is Latino.
Well, yeah. I mean, I have a theory that that's why movies. It's not a horror movie, but like The Purge, but like horror movies and The Purge. If the series sticks around long enough,
They have a Latino
then there's
version.
a Latino version of the movie.
For sure.
I don't know.
I want to rewatch like whole franchises now just to find that.
To find the Latino.
Yeah.
I want to get your guys' opinion on this.
Scream did that with the new one coming out.
Jenna Ortega.
Yeah, she's the main character.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
And that's just it's projected to be one of the biggest Scream movies only because she's on there.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
That's crazy.
I want to get your guys' opinion on this. You guys are familiar with Chicano Hollywood?
I know.
I listened to like half that episode.
Okay, so he mentioned this. It reminded me how you said Latinos are just pretty like neutral with like black movies they'll show up, white movies they'll show up, but usually for like Mexican movies they don't show up as much. And he was saying because how you guys with Latinx, you know, like is that
we're neutral on that. It's like
For me, it's the thing of like I understand the want for it, so I don't care. Like,
yeah, I don't care either. But the way he was saying it, he was saying that like that Latinx crowd is really loud, but it doesn't really represent the whole Latinos. So they make Latinx type movies, but that's not the type of movies that we're into.
I can see that. I feel like we get 2 versions, right? Because there's an overcorrection. I think to that statement, people have to remember that, like, just a couple years ago, we had El Chicano come out, and that shit was it was supposed to be like a Mexican superhero.
Yeah.
But it was like filled with like stereotypes of like drugs, gangs, cartels, and stuff. So it's like we either get stuff like cartels and like violent and gangs and stuff, or we get this like overcorrection of like
¿Dónde está mi abuelita?
Yeah. So I could I see that for sure. I feel like we've talked about this before, but I feel like the Latino identity is a hard demographic to nail down because it is so diverse. Yeah. You don't really get to see a lot of good representation. I feel like historically, the only representation that I've seen that's like I feel like was pretty good was Carla from Scrubs. I don't know if you watched that show, but it's like she's Dominican, her character's Dominican, and it's also like I feel like there's a lot of TV shows where they'll have like a character that's like Latino, but it doesn't ever come up until like you meet their parents, and then it's all of a sudden a trauma dump.
Yeah.
But like with Carla, it was like throughout the series you see her like doesn't define her character, but it is part of who she is, right?
How she makes decisions and stuff like that. Yeah.
So like, I don't know. I think I will say I feel like Latinos are a hard community to please.
Yeah, I think so too. It's just tough.
But you're saying
I feel like there's a sketch in there somewhere.
But you're saying that like there's either an overcorrection or just the same old shit. But you're saying Chicano Hollywood, like
he was
something.
Yeah, he was saying that It's just that our films aren't getting green lit because they're not like the Latinx representation. It's like he wants to do like he was saying that they want to do just I guess like just normal like just movies with just like Mexicans in there, but it's not really pleasing to like Latinx culture or whatever like that. So that's why they don't get as green lit. And then the Latinx movies that get green lit, they're usually no one really likes them. And then so they bomb, and then the studios are like, "Why we keep making these if they keep bombing?" So you're saying it's kind of like
It's
Is there an
frustrating.
example? Did he give examples of like
Nah.
the movie?
I think it's frustrating because it's like we're not let in much, and then they probably don't use enough of our established artists or writers. And
yeah.
like, why does this suck? Because it's not really that authentic.
yeah,
Like the more authentic stuff we see from our community, all of a sudden it starts succeeding, and it's like, I think the more the people that have been Latinos that have been doing it forever actually get pulled in or just do their own thing
yeah,
and find a way to sell it, like I think that'll succeed easier.
yeah, for sure.
I also think we have to take a look at the context of like an American movie with like Latinx representation versus like stuff that's actually made in Latin America.
Yeah.
Because like Latin America has an extremely robust film industry.
Yeah,
And like there's a lot of really good movies that are being made that are like, I mean, you have to look at it. I mean, there's something to be said about like white Latinos being overly represented in Latin American cinema, but at the same time, it's like you can't say that that's not Latino representation because it's like those are
The
just
culture,
movies
yeah.
with that's what the culture is. So I think bringing that, I think what people are not seeing in the United States is like something that speaks to the
yeah, because it's a whole different thing.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
there's
a
just so
whole
many
experience.
subcultures in like the Latino community that, like
Yeah.
you said, it's so hard to please everyone.
That reminded me of like one of my favorite moments from Guillermo del Toro, where he was at a con and someone was interviewing him, I think about the recent project, the allegory thing that he made, the horror movie thing.
Pinocchio.
Or no, it might have been for Pinocchio, but someone was like, "You have this weird, interesting way of like getting to the root of like people's trauma and writing people's emotions, and like."
but you're Mexican.
No. So here's the thing: she was like, "How like." You have like this interesting way of thinking where you can like get to the heart of what it means to be human and traverse all these different kinds of emotions in your characters. How do you go about that? And he goes, I'm Mexican. And that was like the best moment ever.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, I think it just boils down to like, I think what it is that there's so few things getting made in the United States that speak to the broad community, that whatever does get made, there's a lot more pressure on that to represent everybody, and that's just kind of impossible.
Yeah.
And then, but because like you're saying, stuff doesn't get green lit because it performs poorly. It's like, I think if people just like took a step back and like not and just allow, part of the solution is just green lighting more and producing more stuff so that the diverseness can be like addressed. But then also I feel like if that happens, like the audience also needs to like take a step back and be like, yo, this doesn't have to represent all of us. Like you could just like the movie or not like
Yeah, you
it.
can just
Like,
enjoy cinema.
Because to me, the core issue is just like you're saying, there was never enough. Like all we had was like George Lopez show,
Yeah.
and it's like cool, but it's like you could have like Latinx type stuff, and then eventually that could be good if they let more of those writers in.
Yeah.
And you could have just like even like a Latino Friday, like just different flavors of all of this, like even nerdy Latino shit. That's just not like none of these subcultures in our culture like are like conveyed at all.
Yeah. And I think also in the movie industry, like obviously it's all business, so you want to get the biggest umbrella possible that holds the most people.
Right.
So you don't really want to make subculture type movies because
Exactly.
there's no money.
Yeah.
So I guess you just make an umbrella, and then what kind of fits in that umbrella.
Yeah.
The bigger the umbrella, the movie gets made.
I think that's why it seems to be like the answer is like finding a way to produce these things yourself.
Exactly. That's why shout out to independent filmmakers, all those people, the school projects, all those stuff. They're cool.
So real quick, can you tell me a little bit about how your channel, how IE and Friends like became Inland Empire Network or Inland Entertainment
Inland
Network?
Entertainment Network, yeah.
There you go. Inland Entertainment Network, like, because I remember seeing you guys like once stuff started to hit, and then it's like, okay, here's a new show, and then here's a new show, and like, what was your process through like developing your guys' channel? So
it started as IE and Friends. I never had like a plan. I was just kind of just going and see what was working out, just paid attention to the people. So IE and Friends started popping off, and then we'll always get comments, oh, you should have more girl guests, we should have the girl perspective. So we're getting a lot of girl perspective comments. So I started thinking, I was like, what if I just start a girl show, like a girl spinoff? So that's how I started like IE and Besties. I got my friends, my friends that are girls, my girlfriends. I got them on the show, and that started doing really good. And I was like, oh shit. And then so by that time, I was ready. Like I already was living off the podcast, but I was just doing enough just to pay all my bills. And then so I was like, now I have way more time on my hands because I don't work. So I just dedicate one day to filming, one day to editing, and then same thing for the other show. So now I have 4 other days. Well, at the time I was also working weekends, so now I had like I guess like five other days to work with where I'm not doing anything. And I'm like, so I have more time on my hands. What can I do? And I was like, let me start another show. So I started another show, and then I was like, oh cool, I kind of still have more time on my hands.
Damn.
So let me start another show. So I really wanted to make social media like a 9 to 5, because like if people can work, 40 hours a week, or is that is it people can work? Yeah, if people can work 40 hours a week, I can do 40 hours on social media. Like there's no difference. Like it might as well do it if I'm doing it for someone else, I can do it for myself. So I was just trying to fill up my schedule. So I was like, okay, my Mondays are full. Now Tuesdays are full. My Thursdays are full. And then now my Fridays are full. Cool. I think no more, because that's my 40-day work week. So that's kind of how I started that. And then I'm like, the whole Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday thing, Friday, I was just kind of modeling off BuzzFeed. I was like, BuzzFeed, they have BuzzFeed, and then they have shows in different days. And I was like, let me do that. So at first I had like IE and movies. So I had movies on Mondays. Tuesdays were IE and Friends. Wednesdays were for the girls. Wednesday Besties. Thursdays, I didn't have anything. That was just kind of like an editing day. And then Friday was foodie. Right. So I had like all these days set for these things. And that's kind of where the whole network thing came. I was like, let me just, because when people are searching, like I kind of have to have like a generic search for every video, because I couldn't. My channel was called IE and Friends, but also had IE and Besties. Also had other shows on there, so I can't. They have to fall under its own name. So that's when I thought of like Inland Entertainment Network, and then so that's like Cartoon Network. In Cartoon Network, you find other shows in there. So that's kind of how that came about. So it was just kind of because I've always been business. I was always about business. I've always wanted to be like a business guy. And so I just put 2 of my favorite things together, social media and business. It's like what's DJ Khaled's Shoe Connect? What's that guy's name? He's a little dude. No, he's young. He's like... Yeah. He started when he was like 13. Yeah. He's like, how's business? Booming. That's kind of how that network started. And then now it's just growing into a production company. So you do all the editing for the show? Not anymore. So I've... now I started like... Because, I have 7 people on my team. So I was like, they should probably do a little bit more. Because I was doing everything at one point. So now, like, I have Rex from Bueno Bueno. He's editing that show. Stephanie from Besties is now editing her show. Okay. So they all edit their own shows now. Oh, and then so I still... huge. Yeah, so that's huge. Giving them the tools to... Yeah. And then all of them, they don't know how to edit. So I taught them how to edit. Mm-hmm. So that even adds to their resume whenever they like to like venture off to their own projects. So that's kind of my own, like I want them to venture. I tell them every single time, I was like, bro, start your own shit. Like you guys have the tools, whatever you guys need, I'm here. Start your own shit. We have an audience, whatever you guys do, they're going to follow it. So start your own shit now before we lose it, because everything that goes up must come down. So, right, since we're up right now, fucking take advantage of it. So that's what I'm on. So I'm just helping them just start their own shit as well. And with that, now it gives me more time to venture into more projects. Because I told him, I was like, last year, like around December, I was like, yo, I really want to do more stand-up next year. And that means I really have to be out. Like, I can't just be home editing. So I'm going to need some help. So that's how I got them. So now I have more time to do my own projects. I'm starting to do other side projects. I'm doing more acting now. So it's helping me. Like, I grow, they grow.
Hell yeah.
So we're on the same wheel. We're just trying to snowball effect. So that's kind of how that's going.
Hell yeah. I mean, this is exciting stuff. Like, I'm excited. Local people, local Latinos starting, and then to see empires being built.
Yeah. And that's my favorite part because like people like they get shocked when like we're repping the IE. And they're like, the fuck, no one else reps the IE. Why are you guys doing it? And I'm like, bro, it's big as fuck. Like, it's a lot of people. And I'm not doing it just because the numbers or the money. I'm doing it because like we have so much beef. Well, we don't even have beef. It's just LA people beef with IE people for no reason. So it's just like, the fuck? So I was like, I'm going to show you guys, like, we do it too. And it's crazy. I don't want to talk too much about LA beef, but we got some LA podcasters beefing with us right now. We didn't do shit.
For real?
Yeah, bro. We've not talked about them at all. And now they're just accusing us of shit. And we're like, the fuck?
Oh, yeah. That's the
Latching on.
worst.
Yeah, and it pisses me off because they're also like Latinos, bro. So I'm like, why are you guys fucking with us? And it's just because we're from the IE.
Yeah, the IE, I mean, even in the comedy community that we're around, like, the IE for sure gets a lot of hate.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't get it. So that's why I want to build shit from the IE. Be like, oh, look at us. IE podcast doing good. Suck our dick.
No, I mean, thanks for coming through. Such a good talk and like learning all this stuff. I mean, already I'm rethinking how like our structure is, like how we do things. So it's like, thanks for dropping knowledge for our listeners and all that.
Oh, anytime, bro. Anytime.
Yeah. Do you have any projects, stuff you're excited about, stuff you want to plug?
Projects
or shows?
Not any projects yet. I am going to start working on like more like cool side projects. But as of right now, we just did our 100th episode at Spotify, which is fucking insane.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, they invited us to do the 100th episode.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
yeah,
thank you. So
That's
we were
awesome.
there. So that drops on Tuesday. If you want to see me cry, it'll be dropped there. You can see it. So that's one of our biggest thing that drops this Tuesday. When does this come out?
This is going to come out next Tuesday. So
Okay.
it'll already be out.
So you guys can go check it out. And besides that, that's kind of the only projects, the big thing right now. And yeah, just follow me on social media, Saul V Gomez, and you can see all the other side projects, literally side quests that I just end up doing. So see what's the next side quest. Follow my podcast, IE and Friends, or the YouTube channel, Inland Entertainment Network. Yeah, thank you guys for having me. It was a great talk.
Hell yeah.
I had a fun time for sure.
Yeah.
If you made it this far, what's something you'd like to see in film from Latinos?
Superheroes.
Better. So, from all of us at Un Poquito, you gotta raise your fingers because we're making a good point. Don't fly.